Welcome. This is one of the parts of the Balanced Recruitment series that IDRC is offering, and this particular training is on working in the community and developing partnerships. So my name is Jessica Castaneda. I work as the project director of IDRC. So welcome and thanks for joining us today. So this is part of a four-part training series that really covers the four areas that we feel are essential to ensuring that migrant ed programs are being thorough in their recruiting and they're able to fully canvass their state, looking at all four of these areas. So we're calling it the Balanced Recruitment Training Series. And we hope that each one of these resources can be used by states in the way that they feel would best enhance their IDNR efforts and hopefully provide some ideas on working in the different areas. So we believe that it's really necessary to ensure that all areas of the state are thoroughly canvassed through these balanced recruitment efforts. So this involves canvassing housing, working to recruit in the community and develop partnerships with community agencies, developing partnerships with farms, fisheries, and agribusinesses as we're out and about visiting those and working with them, as well as developing those partnerships with schools. So all four areas are absolutely essential to ensure that we're being thorough in our identification and recruitment efforts. So this particular training is going to cover why community recruitment is key and is a key area in conducting IDNR, how to locate places where you might find migrant families, how to get community groups to refer to you, basically possible families that would qualify by really building relationships with them, how to organize the information, plan visits and outreach, and also some ideas for some interactions and some interviews that you can do. So migrant families are not always super easy to find in a community. I mean, you're not going to just drive around all the time and see them. You might, but it's really essential that we know our communities well. We know what resources are out there. We know the places that migrant families visit and work, and we know the kinds of agencies that are currently working with the same population. And also we know what kind of resources those agencies are offering. So many times I've been driving and not really seeing very many clues of migrant families, and maybe 2 streets over there was a whole bunch of families, but I wouldn't have seen it right directly. But then other times there'll be clues and things that I can see as I'm driving around that will help me kind of know where I need to go and people I can talk to. So community, we're not always able to find migrant families at home. They're not always at school and they're not always at work. And so when they're not at those other places, a lot of times they're somewhere out in the community. And so we want to make sure that we're out in the community and doing that recruitment is, and seeing how important that is. So as recruiters are working, they should always be identifying more locations in their communities that are good to recruit at. So sometimes recruiters will think, well, I think I visited all the places that I know. Make sure that you're extremely thorough and that you continue to reach out and continue to try to build that network so that if someone comes across a migrant family that might be eligible, they know to refer them to you. And so there is the idea of community recruitment, and this is just canvassing places in your community that migrant families frequent. So you think about what you do in your regular life, you think about what migrant families do in their regular life, and make sure that the businesses and agencies that they would be visiting, that we're also visiting and putting, talking to the owners, we're putting flyers up, we're really trying to get the information out about the program. And so maybe you're looking at stores and markets and laundromats, maybe it's an ethnic store, maybe it's a place people can send money home. It could be churches, it could be health clinics, it could be tax offices, employment agency. It really is any sort of place that a migrant family will frequent, and also a place that might offer a resource or a possible referral of an eligible family in the future. So it's kind of, that's what's in your mind. You're looking at it thinking, feed store, would that be a place that might know? Maybe they know about farms. Maybe they can give me some information of farmers that are, but maybe it's not a place that migrant families are coming to. So you're going to kind of think in your mind when you go into the agency of how they can benefit you. And then also you want to make sure that you learn about, the services and things that they offer. So it can be helpful to make note of places you pass as you're out in the community. That would be a good place to visit. I was working with one state and they mentioned that they always go to the Dollar General because in their particular county, or place that they work when families are brand new, that's where they go and get their shower curtains and their soap and their shampoo when they first get there. And so they make sure that they have a really bright flyer about the program. And they also knew the store manager, and sometimes they were able to put their cards or information that families could get. And the store manager would even ask people, hey, are you guys brand new? Well, if you do, here's a number that you might want to call. That's an idea that I never thought of. That could be something that, could be really beneficial. just identifying those kind of places and where families would go. So spend some time researching different agencies in the community that offer resources to migrant families or that are currently working with the farm worker community. So you always want to have this present in your mind. You want to go and visit these locations, learn more about what they do, see if there's a way that you could work together, share what Migrant Ed does, share, your resources, the kind of things that you offer, and see what they do. Keep good notes of who you talk to, and if you promise to do something, maybe you promise to email a brochure. Maybe you knew of another resource that they weren't aware of, and you said you would email. Make sure that you always follow up, because people, that makes a good impression. It also is a good way to start to begin to develop some sort of relationship with the people that you're going to be working with. Also, learn which agencies may have helpful data. So this could be agencies that, for example, that are labor related, and so they know who's currently hiring families. Or maybe that's the Agriculture Extension Office, and they know when the farmers are having training, or they know the farmers and they know kind of the labor market. Maybe it's the State Monitor Advocate who's doing some sort of housing visits. So you want to think of who knows about the population that I'm trying to serve that I can get good information from. So an example is that, I just mentioned the Agriculture Extension agents. So these are through land grant colleges, most of the time through the Department of Agriculture, and they do a lot of training for farmers. Maybe there's a new pesticide, maybe there's a new farm bill. These are the people that train the farmers on these different programs through USDA. So the farmers trust them. And so maybe it's to your benefit to go in and talk to your extension agent and just see their take on what's happening in agriculture in your community. A lot of times they won't give you direct farm names or information, of owners or anything like that. But when they have trainings, they might let you set up a table. And so if they see the direct, benefit. So these kind of things have to be built. They have to know what you offer, and they have to know how you can work together. You have to brainstorm that, and then it has to be something that they feel would be kind of mutually beneficial to both sides. So if you haven't worked with your agriculture extension agent, I do have a link that you can click on, and you can go in and find yours, the one that's closest to you. So you see this little circle. There are lots of different agencies. This doesn't have to be the only ones, but you have adult ed, you've got community health programs, you've got boys and girls clubs, you've got Head Start programs, employment offices. All of them can be part of your network that you're trying to build. So if someone in adult ed has a new student that's brand new, and that student might want information about migrant ed, the adult ed instructor would know that, hey, here's the brochure, you can pass that on, and this is how you get a hold of the migrant ed program. So you have to lay the groundwork so these places know what you're offering. They see that you're consistent. They see that you follow up. They understand clearly your resources. And little by little, you can really build this network that everyone knows what you do, why you do it, and they can see the value of passing your information on to potential people that could be eligible, as well as sharing examples of the kind of resources that they offer that you can also share with migrant families. So then there's places in your community that maybe you built a relationship, but you're going to have to visit, like a laundromat, for example. Different, maybe it's a rainy day and it's time that people are there. Maybe it's in the evening or the weekend. It's just the kind of place that you're just going to have to come back. Other locations may require more of permissions to work with it. Maybe you have a migrant Head Start program or a regular Head Start that has some parent meetings that they'll let you come in and talk to parents, but they, of course, won't be able to give you any information about families. And so there may be some ways that you can find agencies that work with similar populations, and you can find ways to work together. But with partnerships, one thing to think about is, for something to really last long, there's got to be some sort of benefit to both sides of the table. So maybe with the Head Start, you're helping them find possible students that could be interested in Head Start by passing their information out. And then they're letting you come and talk to parents, maybe during parent events or something like that. You're looking at, okay, what would be the give that I would offer on your side? What would I take? How does this work together? How do we work to, really develop that partnership? So some of those things that a lot of times we don't think about is, you may have had a brochure for the last, 5 years for your migrant program. Make sure that the information that you're giving out to these different agencies is relevant to them, and make sure that it'll also be appropriate for, the place that it's going to be sitting at. So you might have a general, migrant ed brochure that just says, hey, you might know someone who qualifies. And then for the migrant family, it may be completely different. Hey, this is what you're eligible for. You want to make sure that your partners are getting materials that they can help disperse and share and also read that makes sense that create realistic expectations that your program can follow through on. So things to think about: you want to brainstorm that idea of how you can benefit each other. You want to make sure that you're always following up with what you're saying you're going to do. You want to make sure that your migrant services are beneficial. Now you may say, look, I'm a recruiter. I'm not really in charge of services. All migrant programs need to have things that are really valuable to migrant families. Hopefully we are truly making a difference for the students that we are serving. But there are things that you can also pull and have resources to share about community agencies that you're getting out there and you're able to know. And you want to make sure that the things that you have in your hands, maybe you're sharing some English books that they can learn. Maybe you have recruiting supplies. You want to make sure that whatever you're offering is high quality and that it's valuable to those that are receiving it. So here's an example of the part of a brochure that we have for the electronic survey tool. And so this is another tool that you could share with your community partners, that they can go in and make a referral of someone they think that might possibly be eligible. So you want to make sure that you put those types of flyers and materials in the right places. So you can also think about, how you headline, what you put on the top of your flyer. Maybe a want to learn English is a good flyer that you put in a porta potty in a field somewhere. Maybe you have in a school, as your child's struggling in school, and you've got something that a parent or guardian may see as they're sitting waiting to talk to somebody. So just kind of be deliberate about the way that you market to your community. So it says here, think out your marketing strategy and help get the word out about the program. Use local resources such as the radio, billboards, print, those kind of things to get it out there, so that when you're out in the community, wouldn't it be nice if people had already heard from, they already know about the program. So if you do thorough community recruitment, you will get to know where your families frequent, you'll know the places they visit often. You'll know what resources are available in your community and how you can share those with migrant families to make sure that they can gain access to those resources when they're needed. You'll be able to also develop some real key contacts, build relationships with programs that serve the same population, and you'll really be able to maximize the resources that you're able to offer. It will completely directly benefit those migrant students and family. It'll also make your job a lot easier. So just as a reminder of a few places that might be good to make sure that you're working with, your laundromats, your grocery or ethnic stores, your health clinics and departments, maybe there's some low-cost health clinics that are in your area, Head Start programs, employment offices, agriculture extension offices, adult education programs, WIC offices, Boys and Girls Club, even things like crop insurance. They might not tell you, it might not directly benefit migrant programs, but they usually have a good idea of farms and farmers in the community. So sometimes working in the community will also help you know better what's happening in agriculture, and it can tie back to kind of getting to know more farmers and more places that you can recruit at. There's also things like Chamber of Commerce that have just a good idea of what's happening in the community. Police departments a lot of times know of apartment complexes where more people come in and out. And so you can also see if they have any resources or any bilingual officers in case they're, that if you share information with families, if they ever need that information. Also things like Department of Labor that has a lot of different programs that could possibly have good data or good information that we can learn from. So recruiters should visit any agency that would work with migrant families and could provide a referral of possible eligible families or offer a resource that would be beneficial for migrant programs. So if you're saying, I'm not really sure where I'm supposed to go in all of your community, remember, who is already working with the migrant community? Who has services that directly benefit the migrant community? Those are the places you want to get out to, you want to learn, and you want to figure out how to work closer with them. A new thing that IDRC has is we have a brand new resource portal. And so this portal is full of websites with all sorts of community resources. And so they're kind of like state searchable websites. So maybe you're looking for a low-cost dental clinic and you're in Arizona, you can go into Arizona's page and look up low-cost dental clinics and click on one of the websites, and it'll give you a searchable way to find one in your community. So we have everything from mental health resources to domestic violence to free food resources. All of that is located on the resource portal. So feel free to access that. If you just click on the link, you'll be able to see it. So that is all we have for this particular part of the series. We encourage you to listen to the other ones and really remember the importance of all of those 4 areas of canvassing housing, really working in the community to visit places to do ID&R, as well as build those partnerships, working with farms and agribusinesses, and also really working with the schools. So thank you for your time. I hope this is helpful, and feel free to access this information and share and use as it is helpful to you. Thank you.